Wendy is an art teacher. This morning, someone pranked her by putting glue on her coffee mug. She questioned 3 suspects. Blair says,
I didn't do it. I was too busy painting these beautiful flowers.
Jason says, I overslept and came to the studio later than you. And Zara says,
Why would I do that? You're my favorite teacher.
who did it? It was Zara. There's a glue pen in her pocket. Wendy gives her students a task and leaves the studio. After a while, she returns and sees this painting. She says, Wow, who painted this masterpiece? 3 students claim to be the author of the painting. Can you guess who tells the truth? To solve this mystery, we should take a look at their palettes. Only this student has all colors that match the painting. Wendy goes outdoors to buy some food for lunch. Suddenly, she sees a cyclist lying on the ground. Can you guess what happened here? In fact, the car hit the ketchup bottle. The cyclist just fell nearby and got stained. Wendy receives a delivery. 3 identical boxes with artist supplies. All boxes are labeled incorrectly. Wendy needs to label all boxes correctly by opening just one of them. Can you help her? Since all 3 boxes contain the wrong items, Wendy should open the 3rd box. If it contains watercolor, the first box will definitely have brushes, and the second box, watercolors and brushes. And if she finds brushes in the 3rd box, the first one will contain both watercolors and brushes, while the second one, watercolors only. The delivery guy walks outside and yells, Hey, call the police! Someone stole my car! The police begin an investigation and find these 3 suspects. One of them is a thief. Can you guess who? The first guy is just coloring his fence, and the 3rd one is a gardener. But the second guy is hiding a lockpick in his shirt pocket, so he's the thief. Wendy comes to a party. 3 guys invite her to dance, but one of them is a werewolf. Can you guess who? The first guy is just wearing a werewolf costume. The second one has some scratches, but it proves nothing. But the 3rd one has a real wolf tail. After the party, Wendy wakes up in a cell made of ice. She only has a pickaxe in her hand. Meanwhile, her best friend Zach is locked in a similar cell with a drill. Can you predict who will escape? Only Wendy will escape. Zach can't use a drill without electricity. The next day, Wendy arrives at the art studio. She leaves her takeaway coffee at the desk and goes to the toilet. Wendy returns and finds out that someone had drunk her beverage. She checks the cup surface for fingerprints, but she only finds her own traces. Wendy questions 3 suspects among students. Blair says, Sorry, I've been washing my brushes in the sink. I didn't look at your desk. Jason says, Sorry, I don't like coffee, and besides, I've been streaming stories for my followers. And Robin says, I was changing in the dressing room to be a model for portrait class. Can you spot the thief? It was Jason. Take a look at his back pocket. He's hiding rubber gloves. That's why he didn't leave any fingerprints. Wendy receives an emergency call. Someone had stolen paintings from her art studio gallery. Wendy interrogates 3 suspects among the visitors. Sarah says, I came here to buy some of your paintings, but when I entered the gallery, the walls were empty. Jill says, I went blind 7 years ago, so I didn't see anything. I only visit this gallery to use your toilet. And Robert says, Why would I rob this place? I'm the major investor. Who's lying? Jill, if she's really blind, why did she bring this photo camera with her? Wendy carries out entrance exams for art students. One of these 3 artists is left-handed. Can you guess who? It's the third guy. It's easier for lefties to hold a palette in their right hand and paint with their left. This way, his left hand works and the right one stays static. During exams, one guy named Bobby gets very sick and faints. Wendy calls the ambulance and takes him to the hospital. She's just met Bobby, so she doesn't know his relatives, but still. Wendy manages to notice his wife in the hospital right away. Can you spot her too? It's the first lady. They have identical tattoos, and the third lady has a similar mole on her cheek, so she's probably Bobby's sister. Doctors suspect poisoning, so they keep Bobby in the hospital to make tests. Meanwhile, Wendy returns to the studio and questions 3 witnesses among the applicants. Sheila says, "Bobby didn't look healthy in the first place. I don't blame him. Everyone was stressed out during exams." Sam says, "I have no idea who poisoned him, but this person is heartless." And Xavier says, "I think Bobby's just pretending to be ill to get accepted out of pity." The next day, Bobby calls Wendy with the test results. He was poisoned. Wendy calls the police right away and they arrest one of the witnesses. Can you guess who and why? Sam. He knew about the poison before the test results were ready. The next morning, Wendy enters the studio and sees that someone has left a hot mess. Canvases are torn and paints are spilled all over the floor. Can you count all the brushes in this room? "13. What about the glass jars? Can you count the exact number? There are 8 glass jars in this studio, including this broken one. Wendy asks her 3 students, "Who's responsible for this mess?" Nina replies, "I think it was David. He never washes his hands and clothes. He's such a weirdo." David says, "It was Nina. She's just jealous because her paintings weren't selected for an art exhibition." And Amber says, "I don't know who did it. Yesterday, I was feeling sick and stayed home." Who's responsible for this mess? Take a look at the canvas frames. They're all signed. The only canvas that wasn't torn has David's name on it. Therefore, he ruined the studio and his rival's works. Wendy asks her students to the park for an en plein air class. Can you see any weird details in this area? This is an apple tree, but why are there so many oranges under it? 2 students have painted almost identical pictures. Can you help Wendy find 3 differences? Here they are. What about these portraits? Can you spot 3 differences? Over here. After the class, Wendy is trying to leave the park and gets lost. She has to walk through this confusing maze. Can you help her find the way out? Only the first path is correct. On the way home, Wendy enters a supermarket. Can you count the number of cacti? 6. Someone had broken the most expensive car in the parking lot near Wendy's apartment building. The police interrogate 3 witnesses to find out who's guilty. Carl says, "This is my car. I parked it as usual and went home. Wendy woke me up with her call." Gia says, "I was just having a yoga class in a studio nearby. This car belongs to my ex-boyfriend Carl. Too bad he loved this car more than me." And Peter says, "Carl's my neighbor, but he's not my best friend, if you know what I mean. I've been working all day and just arrived." Who broke Carl's car? It was Gia. She's hiding a baseball bat inside her yoga mat. Helen and Dylan go to the movies. Can you spot anything odd in this place? There's a spider hiding in this guy's popcorn. This lady has a working camera, which is not allowed in the movies. The seats are numbered in a random order in this row, and there's a monster hiding behind the seats. Can you spot a criminal among these 2 truck drivers? The second guy is just shipping tomatoes, but someone scrawled the word "help" on the window of the first truck. Therefore, the first driver is the criminal. Can you guess which driver is more dangerous? The second one. Who uses such weird decor for his car? Breaking news! Someone stole exclusive diamond shoes from the local museum. Many people visited the exhibition that day, but the criminal had left no clue. The police arrive at the crime scene. Detective Smith checks the camera records and spots the thief right away. What about you? Something about this lady is very suspicious. Her height increases in the second footage. This probably means that she's wearing the stolen diamond shoes. Kelly throws a pajama party, but one of her guests is a criminal. Can you guess who? This lady is a thief. She hid the stolen items inside a pillow. Let's check how eagle-eyed you are. Can you spot 3 differences between these 2 pictures? Here they are. Yes! What about these pictures? Are they identical? Nope, there are 3 differences. Can you see 3 differences here? Here they are. Great job! Yes! Philip runs a publishing house. One day, he gets an anonymous message. His best illustrator Victor has a secret relationship with one of his female co-workers. Only 4 ladies work in Philip's farm. Sheila is an SMM manager. She has just returned from the Maldives. It was her honeymoon. Bella is a content manager. She's very shy and lives with 5 dogs. Lily is a part-time writer. She's single and parties all the time. And Kelly is an office manager. She's very ambitious and writes her own book in her spare time. Can you guess Victor's secret crush? Bella! Philip has white dog hair on his jacket, just like Bella. Crystal is a doctor. She arrives at a medical conference and takes several pictures with her colleagues before the event. In an hour, the local janitor finds Crystal unconscious in the storage room. Later, Crystal gets better and tells the police, "I was walking to the toilet. The last thing I remember was someone pushing me from behind. I don't know who did it." Police questioned all the doctors. Everyone claims that they were listening to the report when the attack took place. Officers examine the pictures before the conference and immediately identify the criminal. What about you? Crystal tried to protect herself and tore the string on the criminal's neck.
Oh my god.
So it was this guy with a broken badge. Harold is the richest man in town. This evening, he lost his memory because of a car accident. His only family is his daughter. When Harold wakes up in a hospital, two ladies claim to be his daughters. One of them is lying. Can you help Harold identify the real one? There's a photo frame near Harold's bed with a picture of him with his daughter. She has a mole on her cheek, and this lady too. So she's the real daughter. Peter gets lost in a haunted house and finds 3 doors. He needs to choose one of them to escape. There's a cute family of polar bears behind the first door. A couple of hungry, angry wolves are waiting behind the second door, and they haven't been eating for 7 years. And there are hundreds of venomous snakes behind the third door. Which way is more or less safe? The second one. Wolves can't survive without food for so long, so they're not a threat anymore. Mary is heading back home from work through a forest road. Somewhere along the way, she gets lost. She comes across 3 caves. Mary needs to choose one of them to go ahead. There are venomous scorpions inside the first cave. They can't wait to bite Mary. Inside the second cave, there's a tiger that will eat her alive. And inside the third cave, there are man-eating bats. Which cave is more or less safe? If you noticed, the sun is still up. It's daytime and bats are sleeping, so the third cave is the safest option for Mary. Detective Smith gets a task to investigate a robbery. He questions a witness who saw the thief escaping. He says, "In my car's mirror, I saw a masked man driving away in panic, but I wrote down the number of his car." Detective Smith takes the note with the number. Police find 4 cars with similar number plates. Detective Smith carefully examines all 4 cars and figures out which one of them belongs to the robber. How? Since the witness looked at the car number through his mirror, the image was reflected. It means that this was the original car number. Amy lives with her 3 sisters. She's a professional violinist. Her sister always complains that she loves music more than her own family. One day, Amy leaves for the gym, and when she returns home in the evening, she discovers that all her super expensive violins are broken.
Oh god.
She immediately calls the police. Detective Smith arrives and interrogates everyone. Amy's elder sister, Sarah, says, "I was sleeping the whole time. I don't know anything." Detective Smith asks her what the other sisters were doing at the time. They were both reading books and eating dinner in the living room. Only the younger sister was having fun at a party downtown. Detective Smith immediately realizes who broke the violins. What about you? If Sarah was sleeping, how did she know who was doing what? This implies that she's hiding something. A woman in tears enters Detective Smith's office and asks for his help. She explains, "I was walking down the road when a man approached me from behind, snatched my phone from my hand, and ran away." But Detective Smith suspects 3 people and invites all of them, but everyone says that they didn't steal the lady's phone. Detective Smith checks their phones and immediately understands who did it. Can you guess who snatched the phone? Take a look at the wallpapers. This is the lady's dog, so the first guy stole her phone.
Oh no.
After a particularly large snowfall, Chuck walks outdoors. He discovers a weird thing. He has half as much snow in his yard as his neighbors, but it seems like Chuck is not surprised at all. Can you guess why? Simple. Chuck's yard is half the size of his neighbor's. Vicky is filming a video blog about this haunted house. Suddenly, she freaks out because this place is full of frogs. How many frogs can you see in this picture? The correct answer is 11. Vicky runs away to the basement and sees a creepy collection of clown masks. How many masks can you spot? This one is not a mask, it's a portrait. Philip is walking down the street. Suddenly, a woman approaches him from behind and sneaks his wallet. She runs away and hides in one of the houses. Philip follows her. The owner of the house is inside. Philip asks him,
Has anyone visited you today?
The owner replies,
Nope, neither have I left the house. I live here alone and work from home.
After hearing the owner's words, Philip knows for sure that this guy is a liar. How come? There are 3 cups of hot tea at the table and female sandals standing near the door. So he's probably an accomplice of the thief. Elvis is a wedding planner. He receives a call from his client, Megan. She's very upset. Megan is getting married in 3 hours, but she has just discovered that her wedding dress is cut in pieces. Elvis comes over with a new dress. He interrogates the bridesmaids. Shannon says,
I was washing Megan's clothes in the bathroom. I don't know what could have happened.
Diana says, I was hanging out with her mom in the garden. I didn't even touch the dress today. And Amy says,
I applied makeup in the dressing room, and then I went to the canteen to have a snack.
Who destroyed the dress? Diana. She's hiding scissors in her hair bun. Megan offers Elvis 2 trays with cupcakes. Can you find 10 differences between them? Here they are. The next day, Elvis is having business meetings with engaged couples. Surprisingly, one of these 2 couples are vampires.
Oh no.
Can you guess who? It's all about the mirror. Take a look at the second couple. Their appearance doesn't match the reflection. Therefore, they're vampires. Delivery service brings a fancy bouquet to Elvis's office. It has 77 flowers, out of which all but 15 withered. Can you count how many flowers are still fresh? To solve this mystery, we should pay attention to the question. The phrase, all but 15 withered, literally means that all except 15 flowers are dry. Therefore, only 15 flowers remain fresh. Elvis shows 2 variants of flower decoration to his clients, William and Tiffany. This couple is very picky. They want their wedding to be perfect. Tiffany says,
But they're identical.
and William says, no, they're not. I can see 5 differences. Who's right? Nobody. In fact, there are 10 differences between these 2 images. After that, Elvis shows William and Tiffany 4 wedding cake samples. Unfortunately, they didn't warn him about their allergies. Tiffany is allergic to strawberries, while William can't stand chocolate. Can you guess which cake they would choose? The first slice contains both forbidden ingredients at once, and the fourth one has strawberry pieces in the middle layer, so we can exclude them. The third cake looks nice, but it still has a chocolate bottom. Only the second cake looks like a completely safe option. Then Elvis asks Tiffany, "What kind of wedding bouquet would you like?" Tiffany replies,
In my dream bouquet, all flowers but 2 should be lilies, all but 2 tulips, and all but 2 roses.
Can you help Elvis count the total number of flowers in this bouquet? To crack this riddle, we should pay attention to the phrase, all but 2. The correct answer is 3. Elvis's bestie, Claire, runs a luxurious wedding boutique. One day he comes over and she complains,
Somebody's stealing clothes from my boutique. Each time the guard fails to spot the thief, I fire him and hire another person. But we can't catch the thief.
Elvis replies,
Let me take a look.
He watches the camera records and spots the criminal right away. What about you? It's this lady. She cut off the labels. Elvis is visiting a small private jewelry shop to make engravings for his clients' wedding rings. But unfortunately, the door is locked and nobody answers his calls. There's a combination lock on the door. Can you help Elvis figure out the letter code to open it? There's a note on the door listing 5 words: diamond, daisy, opal, ruby, and emerald. One word is different from all the others. The correct password is daisy because all the other words are gemstones. Elvis enters the shop and looks around. Suddenly, he sees this wedding picture and freaks out. One of these persons is a werewolf. Can you guess who? It's a full moon, which means the werewolf will turn soon. It's the groom. He's trying to hide his claws in his pocket. Finally, the jeweler shows up and starts a conversation with Elvis. Suddenly, a huge stone breaks the shop window. It seems like someone did it on purpose. They call the police and interrogate 3 people nearby. Paul says, I was jogging around the block and I didn't hear anything in my headphones. Emma says,
I live above your shop on the 4th floor. I was washing my window and suddenly I heard a terrible sound.
And Frank says, I was walking my dog nearby. I didn't look at your shop. I was too busy taking selfies with my pet. Elvis figures out a liar right away. What about you? Emma, this building has only 3 stories. The jeweler offers Elvis a game.
There are 3 doors leading to a secret room with rare diamonds. If you manage to get there alive, they're yours.
But each way has hidden dangers. A hungry mountain lion guards the first passage. There's an aquarium with hungry piranhas behind the second door. And the third passage is filled with venomous scorpions. Which way is more or less safe? The second one. Elvis can just bypass the aquarium and go ahead. Elvis walks out of the jewelry shop with his brand new diamonds. Suddenly, a masked thief grabs the stones and runs away. Elvis follows him. The thief jumps in a car and leaves. There are 3 car drivers nearby. Each offers Elvis a free ride to catch the criminal, but only one of them is trustworthy. Can you guess who? The first guy's face is hanging on this wall. He's a runaway criminal. And the third guy's car lacks a wheel. Therefore, Elvis should pick the second driver. The thief parks his car near the local museum and hides inside the building. Elvis follows him and enters the main hallway. There are so many visitors here. Looks like the thief changed his outfit. Can you spot him? The thief was wearing a broken smartwatch on his right hand, so it's this guy. Finally, Elvis gets his diamonds back and invests them to fulfill his biggest dream, to open a trendy restaurant. He buys a building and orders furniture and household appliances online. He gets free delivery as a gift. The next day, 3 movers arrive and begin to bring in all the purchases. Unfortunately, one of the guys breaks an expensive TV. Elvis questions the movers. The first one says, "I was carrying the fridge into the house and accidentally dropped it on my foot. I didn't break the TV." The second one says, "I brought the sofa, so I was very busy, and I don't know who's guilty." And the third mover says, "I helped the first one with the fridge, and then I ran to get the first aid kit for his foot." One of them is lying. Can you guess who? The second guy said that he brought the sofa by himself, but it's too heavy for one person. Finally, the restaurant opens. Today is a special night for Elvis. His former classmate, Roger, is a famous restaurant critic. He comes over to check out this place. The evening goes perfectly, but the next day, Roger publishes a terrible review. "Stay away from this dump. It was the worst cake in my life." Elvis is confused. The waiter did everything perfectly. The barista made great drinks, and the chef made 3 perfect meals: soup, steak, and salad. Can you guess what happened here? Roger wrote that he tasted a cake, but it wasn't among the dishes that he actually ordered. Seems like he lied to ruin Elvis's business. The next morning, Elvis arrives at his restaurant and faces another unpleasant surprise. One of these 3 guys painted his window. He interrogates them. Mike says, "It was Harry." Harry says,
I didn't do it. It was Daryl.
and Daryl says, "Mike painted your window." Can you help Elvis figure out who's guilty? Daryl has spray paint in his backpack, but only Harry's hands are stained. He must have messed up Elvis's window and then framed Daryl. Elvis hangs these 2 pictures as decor for his restaurant. Can you spot 10 differences? Here you go.
Hey, are you ready for another round of riddles? Then prepare your brains, and we start right away.
Yeah.
Take a look at the photos of these 2 people that were shot during Halloween. One of them is a real ghost. But who? The person on the left left some footprints on the ground, so it's not the real ghost. The ghost is the person on the right. Okay, so now we found a real ghost, but there are other creatures ahead too. Here's a shot of 2 best friends, but one of the girls is secretly a witch. Can you tell which one of them? It's this girl. Can you see a magic wand hidden in her high boots? Take a look at the photos these 2 famous bloggers have recently posted. Which one of them is a vampire? It's the blogger on the right. Look, the lamp is turned on, but she doesn't cast a shadow. Okay, how about solving a couple of detective cases now? Georgia Wright, a rich young lady, was poisoned, and her best friend called the police for an investigation. Detective Column started by walking around the house, exploring the territory. There was a big garden, 4 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms, a living room, a kitchen, a dining room, a library, and a movie room in the house. Georgia was found in her bedroom. The suspects were all people in the house. Madeline, her best friend, said, "I found her right here in the bedroom." James, Georgia's cousin, who just came to visit, said, I spent all day in the game room playing video games. I don't know anything about it. Mrs. Smith, the cook, said, my food is of the best quality, and I love my job. I'd never do anything bad to Miss Wright. Who should the detective arrest? The detective should arrest James. There is no game room in the house, so the guy lied. Another woman got poisoned, but this time at a party. Violet fell unconscious after making a couple of sips of her soda. All of the other people drinking the same soda were fine, which meant that someone added something to her drink in particular. The police arrived at the party 10 minutes after the accident. Ava said, "This is terrible." She went to get a drink, and I stayed dancing upstairs. Nate said, "I didn't see anything. I haven't been in the room with food and drinks for over an hour when I got this one." Elias said, "I found her lying here on her own. Got so scared, and there was no one around." Who should be arrested? Nate. If he got his drink over an hour earlier, why didn't the ice in his drink melt? He must have been there at the same time as Violet, but he's lying about it. Detective Column was on the case to find a missing girl, Mia. She disappeared from her dormitory supposedly in the middle of the night. Adam, her best friend, said, "She wasn't in class and didn't respond to my texts. I came to check on her, and she wasn't here either." Gina, a neighbor, said, "I saw her here yesterday night. She seemed fine." Dana, Mia's sister, said, "I had no idea she was missing until you called me. Please keep me updated." The detective went to inspect the room and arrested one of those people. Whom? Look at this calendar on Mia's wall. There are numbers written on it: 4, 12, 8, and 3. It could be a message. We need to decode it, and the calendar is a hint. Each number signifies a month: 4 for April, 12 for December, 8 for August, and 3 for March. The first letters of each month give us the name of the kidnapper, Adam, her best friend. Sam is a blind man, and he's getting ready to go out on a date. He has a box with 4 socks in it, and they're either black or gray. Sam takes out 2 socks. If the probability of them being 2 gray socks is 1/2, what's the probability of them being 2 black socks? If there are 2 socks of each color, then the probability of having 2 gray socks is equal to the probability of picking out 2 black socks, and it's 1/4 each. The probability of picking out 1 gray and 1 black sock is 1/2, but here the probability to pick out 2 gray socks is 1/2, which means that there are 3 gray socks and 1 black. So the probability of getting 2 black socks is 0. On a gloomy day, as soon as it started raining, a police officer received a call. A woman complained that someone just bumped into her car and drove away. They arrived, and together with the woman, they found a person not too far away who fit the vague description of a red car. All she could remember: "I've just been trying to fix the car. I suddenly broke down an hour ago and I'm running late for a meeting." Should the officer believe him? The rain started just recently. If the man had been fixing the car for over an hour, the ground under the car would be dry, but it's wet, which means that he is lying. And this is suspicious. Okay, let's take a little break from thinking too hard and train our eyes a little bit. Ashley is going on a month-long vacation. She's visiting her friend in Denmark, but she has trouble finding some things she needs. Can you help her? I'll be showing you the picture of her rooms and the items she needs. You just have to find them in the picture. Okay, let's start with her bedroom. Can you see those items there? Here's her scarf. The gloves are right there, and this is the backpack. Great job! Now the living room. She needs her headphones, a passport, and her cell phone. Here they are. Did you find them all? Finally, the bathroom. She needs this exact lipstick, a hairbrush, and sunscreen. Do you see them in the picture? The brush, the sunscreen, and this is the lipstick right here. Thank you. One sunny day, an insurance agency received a call from their client, Mr. Smith. Mr. Smith has his property and belongings insured. He reported that someone broke into his house and stole his savings and the collection of expensive watches. The company's caseworker was sent to investigate the situation. Look, the house was a mess. Still, the caseworker concluded that Mr. Smith staged it. Why? Look at the plates, cups, and bottles on the floor. All of it is pretty fragile, but none is broken. The burglar wouldn't care about keeping things safe, but Mr. Smith would, so he carefully put it all down on the ground when staging the robbery. Do you want more crazy stories from the insurance agency? This couple, Dean and Jean, have their lives insured. They came to the agency saying that a big icicle fell on Jean's head and it gave her a concussion. A caseworker came to the house to listen to the whole story. Jean was sitting right there, painting the wall of the house. The icicle fell from the roof right on top of her. Why didn't the caseworker believe them? Icicles are hanging from the roof. That's true, but Dean said that Jean was painting the wall of the house at the time of the accident. If that's true, then the icicle wouldn't be able to hit her, since Jean wouldn't have the roof completely over her. Another day, another case. The day after a storm, a man called his insurance company and told them that his car was hit by a tree that fell on it because of the wind. So, he wanted the money to repair the car or fully replace it. A caseworker came to investigate the case and concluded that, once again, it was a fraud. Why did she make this decision? The tree that was supposedly broken by the wind is perfectly cut.
Sam is a truck driver going from the Sunshine State all the way up north. Driving through a small town, he comes across a very low bridge. He can't pass under it. The truck is 1 inch too high, but this is the only road for the driver to reach his destination. What can Sam do to pass under the bridge? He can let some air out of the truck tires so that the truck can reach the exact height it needs to go under the bridge. Genius! Here's a simple but tricky one for you. Mr. Smith has 4 daughters. Each of his daughters has a brother. How many children does Mr. Smith have? He has 5 children. Duh! All of the daughters have the same brother. Sarah is a very beautiful woman, and 2 men are in love with her. One is a doctor, and the other is a florist. The florist needed to go on a trip for a week. But before leaving, he gave Sarah 7 apples. Can you guess why he did that? I guess he believed in that popular saying, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. There are 3 women trying on clothes in a department store. Take a look at this image and try to guess which of them is a teacher. It's the third lady. If you take a look, her stockings have some chalk marks on them. She probably got them dirty when she was teaching a class. Mr. Kooks was preparing his will when he came up with an idea. He would leave all his fortune to the son that would crack his riddle. He told his 3 sons to buy something that could fill their entire living room. So, the first son went to the market and bought many packages of straw. But when he tested it, they weren't enough to fill the entire living room. The second son bought sticks, but they weren't able to fill the whole room either. The third son bought 2 items that finally filled the room. Can you guess what they were? He bought a candle and a box of matches. He waited until it was nighttime, lit the candle, and voila! The light filled the entire room. Smart thinking. Detective Robin was called to Long Hill College to investigate a series of thefts that had happened there. In a week's time, the man had 3 suspects. "What were you doing when the last theft happened?" he asked them. Thomas said,
That day, I was away. I had to take my younger sister to her violin rehearsal.
Judy said,
I spent that day at the library, getting ready for the midterm tests.
Robert said, "I was also at the library, studying Spanish. I'm going to Brazil in the summer, so I'm trying to catch up on the language." The detective immediately knew who was lying. Can you tell who it was? It was Robert. Detective Smith knows that they speak Portuguese in Brazil, not Spanish, so the guy must be lying. Sarah was in her hotel room when she heard a knock on the door. When she looked through the peephole, she saw a man standing outside.
Sorry for bothering you. I'm the hotel manager,
he said.
Our database has crashed, and I need to check some information.
Sarah said she would be back in a moment, got away from the door, and called security. She said there was someone in the hotel trying to rob her. How did she know? Look at the man's name tag. It's a female name. He is surely not the real hotel manager. When Anna got to school, she noticed that her friend Joan was very upset. It was just the beginning of the day, but someone had already stolen her backpack. Anna started her own investigation. Jenna from the robotics lab said she had been fixing a robot that morning. Kate from the cheerleading squad had just begun her practice. And James said he had spent 3 hours trying to solve math problems and was exhausted. Anna knew right away who had taken the backpack. Can you figure it out? It's James. The school day had just started. How could he have been there for 3 hours already? At a party, there were 9 candies in a box. 9 people took 9 candies, but 1 candy was still in the box. How could that be possible? It's pretty simple. The last person took both the candy and the box. This way, 1 candy remained in the box. A math teacher told his students about Roman numerals. After that, he asked them to draw 1 line and turn IX into 6. His only condition was that the students couldn't lift their pens off of the paper until the line was finished. Mark was the first one to complete the task. How did he do it? He drew the letter S in front of IX and got this, 6. Smarty pants, huh? Rachel was at her office when security called, saying a robber had gotten into the building. At that moment, he was trying to escape. The woman ran towards the elevators to evacuate the building, but 2 elevators arrived on her floor at the same time. In both of them, there were men that looked suspicious and could be the robber. How can Rachel figure out which elevator to take? The one that's going up. If the robber is trying to get out of the building, he will be in the elevator that is going down. So, it will be safer for Rachel to take the one going up. Hey, it's time for a hair appointment to trim those loose ends. But there's only 2 hairdressers in town to cut your hair, a guy and a girl. Take a look at them. Which one should you choose? The girl, of course. If there are only 2 hairdressers in town, that means that they cut each other's hair. And judging by the haircut the guy gave the girl, it looks like he doesn't really know what he's doing. So you should definitely opt for the girl. The shopkeeper of an expensive skincare shop called the police because someone had robbed his store. But according to the video camera footage, there were 3 customers in the store at the time of the robbery. Investigators questioned each of them. Michael said he had been buying some stuff for his pets. Kayla said she had been concentrating on ointments. And Maya told the interrogator she had been busy buying lotions. Can you tell who is lying? Michael is the culprit. The skincare store doesn't sell pet products. Duh! On a rainy day, Miranda decided to work from home. At one point, she went to the bathroom, and when she got back, she noticed that her cell phone and money had been stolen from her own house during the day. There were 3 people inside the house at that time. Her sister Beth claimed it wasn't her.
I was still asleep at that time because I'd had a late night.
Her other sister Anna said that she'd been taking a stroll in the garden when it happened.
I was watching the night-scented orchid bloom.
And lastly, there was Josh, Miranda's boyfriend. I just got home by lunchtime, he said. Which of these 3 suspects stole Miranda's money and cell phone? Anna is the culprit. Night-scented orchids only bloom at night. On Halloween, Carrie decided to visit the spookiest house in the neighborhood by herself. As soon as she got inside, the door locked behind her back, and she got stuck. Luckily, she saw 3 ways out. However, behind the first door, there was a venomous snake. Behind the second door, there was toxic gas. And behind the third door, there was a lake. Which door should she choose? The last door. It's just a lake. She can swim across it.
Tyson was thinking about buying a gym membership. There were only 3 gyms in the area where he lived. The first one was called Iron Muscles Gym. The second one was called Stronger You Gym. And the third one was called Fit for Life Gym. Now take a look inside all of them. Which one should he choose? Do you see the clean towels wardrobe inside the Stronger You Gym? They don't look clean at all. It's not the best option unless he loves germs. And take a closer look at the running mill inside the Fit for Life Gym. It's broken. That's an accident waiting to happen. So he should pick the Iron Muscles Gym. Ellie and Ollie were looking for a nice hotel to spend their vacation together with their puppy. After checking out some places online, they brought down their options to 3. Take a look at the website of each of them. Which one should they pick? Do you notice the small stock photo sign on the photos of the first hotel's website? That can only mean they are scamming people. The second hotel seems like a good option since it's a 5-star one. But do you see the small sign on the website that says, "No pets allowed"? They can't go there with their puppy, so they should stay at the 3rd hotel. James and Jonathan went camping in the woods. As they were searching for the perfect place to set their tents, they came across a river that only had one bridge to cross to the other side. However, as soon as they stepped on it, a troll appeared in front of them and said, "I'll only let you pass if you answer my riddle. Until I am measured, I am not known. Yet how you miss me when I have flown. What am I?" The answer is time. Hillary was sitting in her hotel room when someone knocked on her door. She opened it and saw a man whom she had never seen before. He said, "Oh, I'm sorry. I have made a mistake. I thought this was my room." He then walked back to the elevator. Hillary immediately locked the door after him and called hotel security. What do you think made her so suspicious? Nobody knocks on their own hotel door, but the man did that. Captain Bluebeard was traveling the sea with his crew. At one time during their voyage, 2 of his sailors were standing on opposite sides of the ship. One of them was looking west, and the other one was looking east. But at the same time, they could see each other clearly as well. How was that possible? The sailors had their backs against either ends of the ship. Newton and Curie were 2 history professors from Planet Q. To complete their planet Earth research, they had to explore a place the Earthlings used to call a school. There, they found a piece of paper with a handwritten number on it, but couldn't come to an agreement about what the number was. Newton was saying it was 6, and Curie was saying it was 9. Who is correct? Do you see this teeny tiny dot here? That can only mean the number is 9. So, Curie is right.
Yeah.
The Foggy Mountains region of the Kingdom of Endolia was occupied by the most vicious dragon. The king called Knight Samuel to go on a quest to defeat it and take all the gold it stole from the people back.
Yeah.
So, Knight Samuel hopped on his horse and reached the mountains after a long journey. Once the dragon saw him, it said if Knight Samuel knew all 3 of its riddles correctly, it would leave the mountains as well as all the gold. The first one was, "Soft and fragile is my skin, I get my growth in mud. I'm dangerous as much as pretty, for if not careful, I draw blood. What am I?" It's a thorn. "You're a clever one, Knight Samuel," the dragon said. "Here's my second riddle. I am a box that holds keys without locks, yet they can unlock your soul. What am I?" The answer is a piano. I have only one riddle left for you, but be very careful. If you can't answer it correctly, this kingdom shall be mine. When you went into the woods, you got me. You hated me, yet you wanted to find me. You went home with me because you couldn't find me. What was it? The answer is a splinter. Annie forgot her computer in her dorm room, but she urgently needed to use one to submit her school paper. Her mom had a laptop in the study room, but it was password protected. However, she was easily able to figure out the password. How did she do it? Take a closer look at the bookcase inside the room. Some of the books have letters instead of their titles on the side labels. This book has the letter A, this one has N, another N here, there's an I on this book's label, and this one has an E. So the password is Annie. Professor Guillermo was the headmaster of the Academy for Superheroes. He was also responsible for holding examinations to select new students for the Academy. There were only 3 students left who successfully made it to the last part of this year's exam. To pass it, they all needed to show Professor Guillermo their special power. The first student's power was going invisible. The second student could make objects fly. And the third student could bend metal with her mind. However, Professor Guillermo realized that one of them was an imposter. Which one is it? Take a closer look at the object that the second student is levitating. Do you see the small on-off button here? That can only mean it's actually some tech device that can fly on its own. So he is the imposter. Jane was competing at Who Wants to Be a Billionaire? And she was only one question away from the $1 billion prize. The question was, it's true, I bring serenity and hang around the stars, but yet I live in misery, you'll find me behind bars. With thieves and villains I consort, in prison I'll be found, but I would never go to court unless there's more than one. What am I? It's the letter S. Dylan was going to buy a new car. The salesman showed him 3 options. Which one should he choose? Take a look at the side door of the first car. The paint on here is chipped. It's not wise to get a car that's already damaged. The third car's left tire rim is cracked. This one is also a pass. So he should get the second car. Catherine has 4 daughters, and each of her daughters has a brother. How many children in total does Catherine have? Each daughter has the one and the same brother, so she has 5 kids. Rachel and Ashley were best friends, but one of them was living in Japan, and the other in the United States. Rachel had purchased a BFF bracelet for Ashley and wanted to mail it to her. However, the only way to make sure the bracelet would be received was to place a lock on the package. Rachel had locks and Ashley had locks, but neither had keys for each other's locks. How can they ensure the bracelet isn't stolen? Rachel should place a lock on the package and send it to Ashley. Ashley then should place one of her locks on the package and send it back to Rachel. Rachel removes her lock and sends the package back to Ashley. Marla goes to the grocery store and buys 1 dozen eggs. As she's going home, all but 3 eggs break. How many eggs are left unbroken? The answer is hidden in the question. She has 3 eggs left.
There's a historical medieval castle where the legend says lived a beautiful princess and a werewolf. One day, a lonely tourist walks in there to take some photos. To his surprise, the princess is actually there. She greets him, but says the werewolf hates any visitors, so she has to hide him. She then takes him to a secret room in the basement and locks the door. However, when she checks on him the next day, she sees that he's turned into a werewolf too. How did the werewolf find out about him? The princess is the werewolf. After a long day at work, Jamie arrived home only to find a burglar had broken into his house. Once he headed to his bedroom, he realized that the burglar was actually still inside his house. How did he figure that out? Take a look at the t-shirt that's hanging on the handle of his wardrobe. It keeps moving slightly. However, the windows are shut and the air conditioner is off, so there's no way any wind may be causing that. It must be the thief hiding inside the wardrobe. Check if Jamie is still in the room or not. Carrie is invited to a spooky-themed costume party. When she arrives there, she sees 3 people dressed as ghosts, but 2 of them are actually real ghosts. Can you tell who's human? Do you see the first lady? She has no shadow despite the light coming from her back. So she must be a real ghost. And notice that the light just passes through the arm of the third guy? He must be a real ghost too. So the second lady is human. The police department called Inspector Kim to solve a robbery case. The thief was last seen entering the graveyard with the sack of gold he had stolen from the jewelry store. They were able to catch the robber, but he was not revealing where he'd hidden the gold. Inspector Kim headed to the graveyard to investigate the scene, and he immediately found where the robber hid the gold. Can you? Take a look at the dates on these 3 gravestones. The second and the third look normal, but the first gravestone says this person lived from 1860 to 2020, and that's impossible. So, that must be some cover the robber made to bury and hide all the gold. The police officers called Inspector Kim for duty once again when 3 houses all next to each other were robbed on the main street. Inspector Kim questioned the owners of each of the houses to see if they'd seen something suspicious. The first man said he had not been inside his house when the thief broke in. The second man said he had been on the second floor listening to music with his headphones on, so he hadn't heard anything. And the third man said he'd been taking a shower, so he hadn't heard anything either. Inspector Kim could immediately tell that one of them was lying. Can you? It's the second man. He said he was on the second floor, but the house is a 1-story house. Aaron was traveling on his motorcycle when he came across 3 different roads. The first one goes through a forest where all kinds of wild animals are waiting for their prey. The second road is the shortest, but it's all pitch black. And the third road goes through the river where the current of the water is extremely high. Which road should he choose? The answer is the second road, of course. He's driving his motorcycle, remember? He can easily use its headlight to see around and find his way. Lee and his best friend are trapped inside a haunted house for the night because a sudden snowstorm overtook the creepy town. All the doors and windows have become barricaded with piles of snow. Lee and his friends need to find a way to stay warm. After searching the entire house, they find 3 stoves: a coal stove, a wooden stove, and a gas stove. However, they have only 1 match. What should they light first to survive the night? The match, of course. Take a look around this house. There are 3 signs that suggest it's being haunted. Can you spot them? Do you see that some invisible hand is writing something on the foggy window? Then there's a cat, which is acting scared, although it seems like there's nothing in front of it. And lastly, this statue is blinking. Allison was suspecting that her house was being haunted. After she did some research on the best Ghostbusters and monster hunters in the city, she brought down her options to 3. Take a look at the newspaper ads of all 3 of them. Which one should she choose? The Ghostbuster in the photo is posing with the zombie he caught. But take a closer look at the zombie's arm here. You can see his real human skin peeking through. That means he's actually wearing makeup, and he's not a real zombie. As for the third Ghostbuster posing with the ghost he caught, do you see the hologram machine behind him? That means he's also faking it. So, the best option is the second Ghostbuster, who is not posing with any kind of monster and is not trying to trick anyone. After the Ghostbuster arrived at Allison's house, they started checking on all the rooms together. Once they entered the bathroom, the Ghostbuster immediately knew that the ghost was hiding there. How did she do it? Do you see the footprints on the floor? But Allison was wearing her house slippers all this time, and the Ghostbuster had her shoes on. So those definitely don't belong to either of them, which can only mean they belong to the ghost. Florence went to the clothing store to buy herself a new dress. As she was waiting for her turn to use the dressing rooms, her eyes caught 2 strange-looking people who were also doing some shopping. However, it seemed like one of them was actually a ghost. Can you tell which one? Take a look at the reflections in the mirror behind them. The first lady's reflections look perfectly fine, But the second lady's reflection shows her face and everything, whereas it's supposed to show her back, so she must be a ghost. Caitlin was driving to her parents' house across the country, but on the way, she took a wrong turn and lost her way. She ended up on some narrow and lonely road. Suddenly, a security guard stopped her and said, "You're on private-owned farmlands, so I can't let you pass. But I'll direct you to the main road if you answer my riddle. I protect the crops, I stand tall, and my purpose is to strike fear in all. What am I?" The answer is a scarecrow. Danny was sitting at the bench enjoying his drink when he saw 3 people coming out of the sea. However, something about them felt strange to him. One of them was actually a sea monster. Can you tell who? It's this third guy. Do you see his footprints on the sand? They start out as a weird webbed foot shape, only to turn into a human footprint later. Friendly ghost Casper's father had 3 sons. The names of 2 of them were Stretchy and Stinky. What was the third son called? He was called Casper, of course. Danny got lost in the woods, and he was feeling very tired and hungry. After a while, he finally came across a house that was made of candies. He couldn't resist and took a bite from it. At that moment, a witch appeared and said,
How dare you eat my house? I will punish you unless you answer this riddle correctly. Ancient knowledge few can know. In the night is where I roam. Vermin I grab in my flight. No one can hide from my sight. What am I?
The correct answer is an owl. 3 expensive watches have been stolen from Mr. Brown's store this year. The police can't help the poor man. He decides to hire a private detective. When Laura arrives, she immediately asks for the CCTV footage from January to December. After watching it, she tells the store owner who the thief is. What has she noticed in the video? The same guy came to the store several times in April, August, and November. And every time he has a cast on his arm. But no broken bone would need 8 months to heal. Follow the Sun was a very popular travel agency. It sold package tours to the hottest and most exotic destinations. But one day, the police found out that this company helped criminals flee the country. They also learned the exact date when it would happen the next time. On that day, several police officers arrived at the airport. They stopped a group of tourists who were flying to a Caribbean island, but the detectives didn't know the criminal's identity. That's why they had to search the baggage of all the passengers. Look at their bags and say who the criminal is. It's the young woman on the left. If she's going on a package tour to a hot place, why does she need a winter jacket? No matter how fast you are, you'll never be faster than me. I follow you wherever you go. What am I? I'm your shadow. Carl and his wife Olivia had dinner. They ate the same dishes: French fries, some fish, and vegetable salad. Half an hour later, Carl felt unwell and called an ambulance. But when specialists arrived, he was already unconscious. The man was immediately taken to a hospital. Luckily, doctors had enough time to save him. When they figured out what was wrong with Carl, everyone was shocked. The man had been poisoned. But how could it happen? He and his wife ate the same dishes, but Olivia was perfectly fine. Even more surprising, the next day, the police arrested the woman for trying to poison her husband. How come? Olivia made all the dishes not salty enough and put poison in the salt shaker. Marta takes 6 ice cubes from the freezer and puts them on a plate. She removes 2 of them and adds another ice cube. She waits for 20 minutes and puts them all back in the freezer. How many ice cubes are left? Just 1, but it won't be exactly a cube. All the ice cubes will have melted and, placed in the freezer again, will form one large chunk of ice. Joe texted his friend Randy. He needed some advice. Joe wrote, "My girlfriend took my professional camera without asking permission, and then she accidentally smashed it. What should I do?" The answer was bizarre. At first, Joe didn't think he wanted to follow this advice, but a bit later he decided it was the best course of action. What was the advice? Forgive and forget. Someone broke into Samantha's house through the window and stole some valuable things. When the police came, she told them she suspected her younger brother Sam. The police officers went to question the guy, but he denied everything. "I was playing basketball several days ago and broke my leg. As you can see, it's in a cast now. It's hard for me to even leave my house." The police officers left, but the next day, one of them saw Sam near his house. The guy was still wearing the cast, but the officer immediately arrested him. Why? When the police visited Sam, the guy had a cast on his right leg. Now it was on his left leg. A farmer only has goats, sheep, and horses on his farm. At the moment, they're all horses but 5, all goats but 4, and all sheep but 3. How many of each animal does the farmer have? There are 3 sheep, 2 goats, and 1 horse on the farm. Altogether, there are 6 animals. Police officer Cheryl Adams was walking along the river, taking some pictures she needed for a case, when a man crashed into her. They both fell to the ground. After helping Cheryl to her feet, the man started to apologize. Someone had stolen his wallet and he was trying to catch the thief.
I was painting my boat and my wallet was lying next to me. But then I got distracted. And when I turned back, the wallet wasn't there anymore.
Cheryl understood that the thief couldn't have gone far. They ran to the nearby pier. There were 4 people there. After looking at them attentively, the police officer knew who the thief was.
Yes!
Now, it's your turn to figure it out. It's the man who's talking on the phone. There's some green paint on his left pant leg. Damien was at work when he found out he'd won the lottery jackpot. He told his accountant he wanted to give half of this money to his best friend, Logan. But random people started to show up in the office, calling themselves Logan to deceive the accountant and get the money. Can you figure out who the real best friend is? It's the guy wearing a matching bracelet with Damien. Look at these prisoners. Can you figure out who's planning to escape? It's the most innocent-looking guy, reading a book. In the corner of his cell, we can see a pile of dirt. He has already dug a hole, planning to use it to escape. Sandra's boyfriend went on a business trip to New York. Soon, the girl got a weird text message from him. It looked like this. What did Sandra's boyfriend want to say? The message means, "Unhappy without you." A woman went out of the airport terminal. She hailed a taxi and gave directions to the driver. As soon as they drove off, the woman started to talk. Her chatter annoyed the driver. He turned to her and said, "I can't hear what you're saying. I'm almost deaf." The woman didn't open her mouth for the rest of the ride. Only after she got out of the taxi did she realize the man had lied to her. How did the woman understand it? If the driver had hearing problems, he wouldn't have been able to follow her directions. Dylan was an extremely popular guy in his office. Tall, handsome, funny, and friendly. But there was one thing that made certain people dislike him. The man had a new girlfriend every month. That Friday, Dylan came to work very happy. He had finally bought the car of his dreams. At lunchtime, he went to the parking lot to check on his new toy. Oh no, his car was a mess, scratched and covered in paint. Dylan called security. He had 3 suspects, all of them his exes. Andrea said she didn't even know that Dylan had gotten a new car. Catherine answered she'd been preparing a report for their boss and hadn't left her desk. And Mila told the guy that she'd forgiven him long ago. Who ruined Dylan's car? It was Catherine. She has some paint stains on her skirt, and the color is the same as the paint on the man's car. Emily was standing on one side of the river, and Anna was on the other. Anna shouted, asking Emily to come and meet her, and Emily did that. There was no bridge across the river, but the girl crossed it anyway, without even getting wet. How did she do it? The river was frozen. One guy was going to Disneyland. At one point, he arrived at a crossroads. There was a sign there. Blueville, right. Disneyland, left. The guy stood there for a while and then, terribly upset, he went home. Why? He thought Disneyland had really left. An orange house is made out of orange bricks. A yellow house is made out of yellow stones. A blue house is made out of blue logs. What is a green house made of? It's made out of glass, of course. Shane opens a new beauty salon. He needs to hire some hairdressers and find these 3 candidates online. Bella has impressive experience. Tyler has recently won a prestigious award. Fiona specializes in hair coloring and has a nice Instagram profile. One of these candidates is a liar. Can you guess who? Bella says that she has 25 years of work experience. But according to her profile, she's only 22 years old. That's impossible. So she's the liar. Shane invites Tyler and Fiona to visit the hair salon for a job interview. He wants to test their intelligence and sends each candidate this map. Can you help them find the right destination? Take a closer look. These are English letters. To understand what's written on the map, you need to remove this icon. The hair salon is located over here. Fiona manages to find the beauty salon. Shane wants to test her skills and shows Fiona these 10 tubes of hair dye. Her task is to decide which color is different. Can you help her? This one. What about these 10 cubes? Can you sort one color out? The fifth one doesn't belong here. Shane decides to hire a cleaner for his hair salon, Bobby. Shane asks him to come every Wednesday, but they agree that Shane would pay Bobby $2 per day. But if Bobby would miss a day, he would have to pay Shane $3. After 15 weeks, it turns out that Shane owes Bobby as much as Bobby owes Shane. How many times did Bobby miss work? Bobby missed work 9 days and earned $18. But he also missed 6 days and lost the same amount of money. One day, Shane enters the hair salon and sees 2 clients. One of them is a runaway criminal. Can you guess who? The lady on the right just gets some styling. Meanwhile, the lady on the left is changing her hair color completely to look different. Therefore, she's a criminal. On Sunday, Shane throws a birthday party at home. He invites a bunch of people. In the midst of the event, Shane decides to show his friend his new diamond watch. But he realizes that it's gone. Shane is sure that the thief is among the guests. He identifies several suspects. Violet says, "I came here to keep an eye on my sister, so I was with her all the time." Jeanette says, "I arrived because I got stuck in a traffic jam. Everyone's on their way home from work. So annoying." And Mike says, "Sorry, I was so hungry that I didn't even leave the table." Who's a liar? Jeanette. People can't come back from work. The party takes place on Sunday. At the party, Shane serves 2 dishes with cookies. Can you find any differences between them? Here they are. This night, the beauty salon was robbed. The thieves didn't find any money. That's why they took expensive gadgets and some beauty products. The criminal boss gathers all the thieves in his office to decide what to do with the loot. Suddenly, the room becomes completely dark. When the lights turn on again, the thieves notice their boss unconscious on the floor. His assistant wants to find the guilty person as soon as possible, so he questions everyone. Jeff says, "I went to the toilet at that moment." Carl says, "I was checking the stolen money in a special machine to sort out the fake ones." And Paul says,
I was drinking my coffee and got scared when the light went out.
"Who attacked the boss?" Carl said that he was going to check the money, but there was no money among the stolen items. Only gadgets, so he's a deceiver. The next morning, Shane enters the hair salon and learns about the robbery. He calls the police. The officer arrives very quickly and examines the crime scene, but he finds no signs of a break-in. He questions 3 witnesses. Fiona, the hairdresser, says, "Yesterday, I finished my last haircut at 5 p.m. and went home." Emma, the cleaner, says, "I finished cleaning at 8 p.m., locked all the doors, and went home." And Mia, the nail artist, says, "I had a day off because I was attending a birthday party." Who's lying? Mia. Take a closer look at her hands and the door. One of her false nails is missing because it's stuck in the lock. Shane is choosing new mirrors for his hair salon. Can you help him spot which mirror isn't fake? Only this one has a real reflection. One day, a foreigner enters the hair salon. He doesn't speak English and communicates with emojis. Can you guess his job? He's a radio host. Shane decides to take some pictures for the beauty salon's social media. Each worker strikes a pose. Can you see any difference between these two pictures? Here they are. Shane arrives at a new beauty product store. He gets lost in the basement and the door behind him slams shut. Shane needs to enter a 5-number code to open it. Can you help him crack the password? See this note next to the door? It's a clue. Count the number of corners for each shape and you'll get the code. 30465. Finally, Shane arrives at the beauty product store. He spots some weird things about this place right away. How many odd details can you spot? There's a ketchup bottle on a shelf with shampoo. The salesman has 4 hands. This poster advertises a 120% discount, which doesn't make any sense. And finally, this mirror is lying. Shane is walking down the store and sees something very curious on the floor. It's not alive, but it has 5 fingers. What is it? It's a glove. Shane is buying one thing. It comes from a mine and it's surrounded by wood. Everyone uses it. What is it? The correct answer is a pencil. Shane comes outdoors and faces these people. Who has a superpower? It's the guy on the right. On holidays, Shane invites his girlfriend to play hide and seek in the woods with his 3 friends. Suddenly, they find an abandoned house. Shane says, "Hide over there and I'll seek." In a couple of minutes, Shane finds his girlfriend unconscious on the floor inside the house. He questions his friends. Tyler says, "I hid in the courtyard behind the fountain." Pam says, "I decided not to play, and I was reading a book on the beach." Alex says, "I was playing in the garden among the roses." And Dylan says, "I hid lying down behind the trees." Shane asks everyone to show their hands. Can you guess who's guilty? Tyler. If he hadn't entered the house, his hands wouldn't have been rusty. Shane's brother Kyle is a rich businessman. They have dinner in a restaurant and meet 3 beautiful ladies. Kyle invites them to eat together. Bella is a promising model. She loves orange juice and dogs. Sheila is a divorced housewife. She has 1 little daughter. And Ella is a student and an Instagram blogger. She's in love with her car. That night, Kyle was robbed. One of the ladies stole a briefcase with $1 million. The police caught the ladies the next morning and knew immediately who did it. Can you guess who's the thief? Ella. Someone went shopping. Early in the morning, Shane opens the hair salon and faces an unpleasant surprise. Someone had knocked over a flower pot and left a mess all over the floor. Shane questions 3 suspects. Fiona says, "Yesterday, I had a date. I tidied up my workplace and left at 6 p.m. Bobby says, "I washed the entire place and left home at 8 p.m. My wife can confirm my words." And the new nail artist, April, says, "Yesterday, I didn't have any clients, so I was watching videos all day and left earlier." Can you guess who's guilty? It wasn't people who did it, but these 2 rats. Apparently, they got in at night.
Ashley is a stewardess. She finds this cute puppy running around in the airport. 3 people come over and claim to be its owner. Can you guess who's telling the truth? This guy. His tattoo matches the dog's name. Ashley walks to her flight gate and passes by this waiting area. But then the gate changes, so she has to walk through that place once again. Ashley spots 10 differences. Can you see them too? Here they are. Ashley is checking passengers' passports before letting people on board. Suddenly, the security service calls her with a warning. One of the passengers is using a fake ID. Ashley finds 3 suspects. Can you spot the fake passport out? There's no February 31st, so this passport is definitely fake. Finally, the plane is taking off. Ashley takes a look at the passengers and spots 3 odd things. Can you see them too? This lady has 2 safety belts. This guy is talking on the phone. It should be put in airplane mode. And the view behind this window doesn't match reality. There's no hot lunch on this flight, but you can buy it additionally. The price for chicken is set at $15, and the beef costs $12. Can you guess the price of a fish lunch? The cost of 1 vowel is $5, and the cost of a consonant, $1. Fish has 3 consonants and 1 vowel, so it costs $8. One of the passengers, Josh, calls Ashley. He begins to complain. Someone had stolen my phone when I was in the toilet. Ashley questions 3 people sitting nearby. What happened when Josh was away? Chelsea says, "Sorry, I was watching a movie, so I didn't look around at all." Bobby says, "I was reading a book, but I think I heard the sound of a rustled plastic bag." And Nina says, "I was sleeping. You woke me up with your stupid questions. Who stole the phone?" Nobody. It's still in Jeff's pocket. Ashley checks the business class passengers and spots 1 witch among them. Can you see her too? This lady is hiding a magic wand. Ashley lands in a foreign country and sends her boyfriend this message. Can you guess what country she's in? Singapore. Ashley goes to her hotel by train. She sees these two billboards on the way. She can't decide if they're identical. Can you spot any differences? In fact, there are 5 differences. Ashley goes to the local restaurant. There's an open kitchen, and she can see the chef at work. Ashley makes an order and leaves for the ladies' room for a while. When she returns, she spots 10 differences in the kitchen. Can you see them too? Here they are. Ashley sees a group of office workers having lunch together. Suddenly, their boss spills hot coffee on his laptop because his palm is stuck to his mug. One of these 3 co-workers prank their boss. Can you guess who? It's the lady in the middle. She's wearing double-sided tape as a bracelet. Suddenly, one of the guests in the restaurant faints. The manager calls an ambulance. The doctors arrive very quickly and take him to the hospital. The police question witnesses. The cook says, "This guy didn't order any food. He just asked for a glass of water." The waitress says, "He looked so gloomy. I decided to cheer him up and served his water in a silver glass." The manager says, "He called us in advance to reserve a table in the corner. He insisted that I must send him an official invitation." And the cleaner says, "I saw him washing hands in the restroom. I swear he didn't have any reflection." Can you guess what happened here? The guest was a vampire, and he got sick because of the silver. Ashley is visiting the local farmer's market. A group of tourists asks her to take their pictures. One of them is not from this planet. Can you guess who? This lady. She's eating a pomegranate with the peel. Ashley wants to chill at this beautiful beach, but she sees a zombie among the guests. Can you spot it too? It's this guy who's reading a book upside down. Ashley goes hiking and gets lost. She finds a sign that shows 3 possible ways out. Unfortunately, each path hides some danger. There's a toxic marsh that swallows people on the first path. The second path is a hunting place for vampires. And the third path holds thousands of venomous snakes. Which way is more or less safe? Ashley should choose the second path. Vampires only hunt at night. Ashley, Nellie, Sarah, and Melissa are co-workers and friends. They land in Paris and come to a party together. But at a certain point, they find out that Ashley had disappeared. She was locked in the basement of the music hall. Can you guess who did it? It was Melissa. Pink sequins from her fancy dress lay by the door. Ashley receives this rebus from her boss. Can you guess which country is her next destination? She's going to Belgium. Ashley is packing her bags for the trip. How many emojis can you see here? Here they are. Ashley is having breakfast at the airport. Can you find any emojis in this food? There are 3, actually. In the waiting area, Ashley meets her old school friend, Kelly. They go to the local coffee shop to chat. Suddenly, Kelly begins to yell, "Please help me! My suitcase is gone!" Ashley questions 3 witnesses. One of the passengers, Paul, says, "This is my suitcase. I've already wrapped it in plastic to protect it from scratches." Nina says, "I went to the restroom and asked the barista to look after my luggage." And the barista says, "I looked after Nina's luggage and I didn't look around. Sorry. Can you figure out the thief?" It's Paul. There's a sticker with Kelly's name under the plastic. Ashley enters the plane. There's an imposter among the flight crew. Can you help Ashley find this person? It's this stewardess. Take a look at her uniform. The air company logo is a little different compared to all the others. Ashley lands in Brussels. She walks into the local park and takes 2 pictures. Can you find 10 differences between them? Here they are. A motorbike rider asks Ashley to take his picture. She takes 2. Are they identical? There are 3 differences, actually. In the hotel, Ashley meets an opera diva, Esmeralda, who's having a world tour. She has visited almost all the countries, and she has finally arrived at the last one.
Oh, no.
In the morning, a maid finds Esmeralda unconscious in her room. The police arrive and find out that Esmeralda was poisoned. They question the suspects. Esmeralda's husband says, "She wanted to be in bed early, so I went to the lobby for the night." Esmeralda's manager says, "I was in my room all evening. I was preparing for the concert." And the hotel waitress says, "I only brought her juice in the evening. She was fine." The police check fingerprints in the room and find many prints on the glass. Who poisoned Esmeralda? It was the manager. She said she didn't leave the room, but there are prints on the glass. In the morning, Ashley is having her next flight, but her taxi breaks on the way. She's stuck at the gas station 50 miles away from the airport. 3 drivers stop, offering to give Ashley a ride. Which car would you choose? The first car is stolen. And the 3rd driver is a runaway criminal, so Ashley should choose the 2nd car. Ashley returns home and puts all her cash into her stash as usual. The next evening, she returns home and realizes that someone had stolen her money. How did she guess? Ashley's cash was in the globe. Its parts don't match anymore. Somebody opened it when Ashley was out. Brooklyn stayed home alone for a week because her family went on vacation. On Tuesday, she discovers that she only has 4 breakfast buns left. She doesn't like grocery shopping alone, so she cuts them in half. How many breakfast buns does Brooklyn have now? Brooklyn might now have 8 pieces, but it's still just 4 buns. Mrs. Palmer has 3 daughters, Iris, Lily, and Rose. She's about to have another girl. What do you think she'll name her? Alice, Hannah, or Poppy? Mrs. Bell seems to choose names of flowers, so she'll probably name the girl Poppy. Penelope went to the doctor, and the doctor gave her 3 pills that she should take every hour. How much time will pass from taking the first pill to the last pill? Just 2 hours. Penelope will take a pill, then she'll take a second pill in 1 hour. In the third pill, 1 hour after that. So, just 2 hours will pass. Kennedy was exploring an old part of the city and got trapped in some basement. She found 3 ways out, but none of them seemed safe. Behind the first door, there is a room constructed from magnifying glass. The blazing hot sun outside will instantly fry anything or anyone that enters. Behind the second door, there's a lava floor that melts anything. Behind the third door, there's a room filled with poisonous gas that burns the skin. How can Kennedy escape? Kennedy should wait until night and then walk out the first door. Amy goes hiking alone and gets lost. She only has 2 options, to spend a night in a zombie town or in Werewolf Village. What should she choose? She should stay in the Werewolf Village. Take a look at the sky. The moon is not full, so the villagers are not dangerous. Madeline is a designer. She lives in a 1-story house in a city suburb. She has a small garden, and everything in her house is made entirely of redwood because it's her favorite material. What color do you think the stairs in her house are? It's a tricky question. You should remember that she lives in a 1-story house, so she simply doesn't have any stairs there. Okay, here's a little riddle for you to think. I have 1,000 ribs, but only 2 backbones. What am I? It's a railroad track. Can you think of a situation when 8 plus 8 equals 4? Yes, it's true when we talk about time. If it's 8 o'clock, then in 8 hours, it'll be 4. Ruby and Scarlet are sisters, and they always play tricks on one another. Today, Ruby came to Scarlet and said, "I'll bet you $1 that if you give me $2, I will give you $3 in return." Should Scarlet accept the bet? No, she shouldn't, because even if she wins the bet, she'll lose the money. Ruby might take $2 and say, "I lose the bet. I won't give you $3. She will have to return Scarlet $1, but Scarlet will keep the other dollar. Esme was having a walk in the forest and got lost. Instead, he found a witch's house, walked in, patted a cat, and asked the witch to take her home. But the witch had a problem, and she asked Esme to help her. Last week, the witch bought a rabbit. The seller told her that the rabbits breed every month and delivers 5 rabbits with 60% chance and 7 rabbits with 40% chance. How many rabbits will the witch have in a year? Well, that's a tricky question. It takes 2 rabbits to breed, so unless the witch gets a second one, she'll still have just 1. Which of the following statements are true and which are false? 1. Only one of the statements is false. 2. 2 of the statements are false. 3. 3 of the statements are false. 4. 4 of the statements are false. 5. All 5 of these statements are false. Since they all contradict one another, only one of them is true, and the other 4 are false. The only statement that reflects it is statement number 4, so that's the correct one. One night a year, Santa Claus stays in his workshop on the North Pole and goes to places to deliver presents. Which direction does he travel first? Santa lives on the North Pole, and wherever you go, the only way to travel from there is south. Ellery has a cat. Her friend asked her how old the cat was. And here's what she replied. In 2 years, the cat will be twice as old as she was 5 years ago. How old is Ellery's cat? The cat is 12 years old. Esme was having a walk in a forest and got lost. After wandering around for a while, she found the house of a witch and asked her to take her home. The witch shrugged and gave her a bottle with a key in it. The key will open this door, and the door will take you home. Take it out, but there are 2 rules. You can't pull the cork, and you can't break the bottle. How can Esme get the key? Esme should push the cork inside the bottle and then take out the key. Now I'll show you some photos, and your task is to figure out what's wrong with them. Ready?
Yeah.
Here's the first one. There are strawberries growing on the tree. That's not right. What about this one? Do you see a mistake? It's ancient times, but this guy right there is talking on the phone. This can't be true. Next one. Keep your eyes wide open. Do you see what's wrong in this picture? Did you pay attention to the traffic light and its colors? There's purple color instead of green. That's the mistake. Just a couple of more. Don't give up. Anything odd you can spot right here? It's night, but there's the sun in the sky. That's odd. Okay, and the last one here for you, the hardest one. Can you see a mistake in this photo? This woman doesn't get reflected in the mirror. Is it a mistake, or is she just a vampire? Ava, Beth, and Chloe are best students in class, and they are participating in the end of a semester tournament. Here's how the rules go. Before hearing the question, a girl chooses a target, one of the other 2 girls. Then the question is read, and the girl gives her answer. If the answer is correct, the target gets eliminated. If the answer is wrong, then the turn goes to the next participant, who will then choose her target and will get her question, and so on. A subject was drawn randomly. History. Ava isn't very good in history, and her odds of giving the right answer are 1 in 3. Beth is a bit better, and her odds are 2 out of 3. Chloe is a history ace, and her odds of responding correctly are 3 out of 3. Everyone knows each other's odds. To be fair, Ava starts, and then the turn will pass to Beth, then to Chloe, and then back to Ava, and so on, until there's one last person left. What should be Ava's strategy to have higher chances of winning? Ava should give the wrong answer, even if she knows the correct answer. Then, the turn will pass to Beth. Beth will most likely target Chloe, because she has better odds in the game. If Beth manages to eliminate Chloe, then it's just Ava and Beth left, and Ava's turn and a chance to win. If Beth doesn't eliminate Chloe, then it's Chloe's turn, who will most likely target Beth and will definitely eliminate her, since her odds are 3 out of 3. Even though Ava will have to go against Chloe at the end, it's still a better situation because she for sure makes it to the second round safely and will then go first with her shot.